you're listening to something new right now, don't skip past it. Let it sit with you for a second, because what you're hearing is the sound of someone rebuilding in real time. I'm Cassandra, your host for Overcoming in Real Time. I'm here with DMiles, producer, creative, and the mind behind Unbreakable, a Lofi project that honestly caught me off guard. And I mean that as a compliment. This isn't background music. This is a man processing his life through sound and inviting you into the room while he does it. Darrayl, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I am so happy to be here. You're breaking a new artist. This is history. This is my first interview for Unbreakable. So you're doing something that's historical today, Cassandra. You're breaking a brand new artist. Now, I will tell you this. I'm calling in and there may be a little bit of feedback, so I apologize in advance, but I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here too, Darrayl. I've never broken an artist before.
That's okay. It's the first time for both of us.
Let's not start with the polished version. Take me to the moment before Unbreakable existed. What was actually happening in your life?
Now, Unbreakable was born out of a season where everything that I thought that was solid in my life cracked at the same time. My career, my relationships, even how I even saw myself. I needed something that helped me sit with that pain, but not stay in it, right? This album is me learning how to breathe again, track by track. And personally, it represents a moment where I stopped trying to be perfect and decided to be authentic instead. Authentically imperfect, authentically me, and authentically now.
You said cracked, not broken. That feels purposeful. Is there a difference for you?
100%. Crack means light still gets in. Broken means you've given up on putting the pieces back together. I never gave up. Now, I broke hard, but I didn't totally break. And once I realized that, I had to recalibrate everything. How I saw myself, what I was building, and why. And that's the whole thesis behind this project.
So, let's talk about the name, Unbreakable. Was that always the title, or did it find you along the way?
The title found me. Man, I would always keep writing in my journal. I have this iPad I just journal in, and I use it for a method of me to keep my head and my sanity throughout the entire process. So I heard the process of having a journal, talking about a gratuity journal. So I always thought about and wrote about what I was grateful for. So I would always write, I might be cracked, but I'm still here. I may be cracked, but I'm still here. Then one day I wrote, I'm unbreakable. And it just hit me. So it's bigger than just a song title. It's a whole project. And it became the synthesis of everything I was feeling. The pain, the fight, and the refusal to quit. And my oldest daughter, if I'm being 100% transparent, she was the one that helped me come up with the title. I was going to come up with something like modern day Job. If anyone knows about Job in the Bible, that's how everything felt to me. I lost everything. But everyone's not going to be scripturally sound, and it may not resonate with everyone. So my oldest daughter, Sophia, she made the deciding vote, and Cassie said that you should make it Unbreakable. I like that better. So therefore, we have the title today, Unbreakable.
I love that your daughter had a vote. What did that moment feel like, having your child weigh in on something this personal?
It meant everything. She watched me rebuild in real time. For her to look at what I made and say, Dad, this one, that told me that she understood what I was going through. Even if we never sat down and had that heavy or weighted conversation, the music did that for us. It bridged that gap. The moment elevated the whole project for me. So the project's not just mine anymore. It's our project.
Now, you're not brand new to music. You've made songs before, a birthday track, a reunion song for your freshman class at FAMU.
Cassandra, I love you to death, but I gotta correct you. Now, that is pronounced FAMU, Florida A&M University, the #1 black college in the world.
Sorry,
yes,
FAMU.
I have been doing music a long time, and I believe I started in 2005. That's when I bought my first beat machine, used that for a couple years. Then I went through the MPCs. Then I jumped on like the Pro Tools and the Fruity Loops, and I think there was Reason. Propeller had Reason. And then when I got divorced, everything went to my ex-wife in the divorce, so I didn't have my studio anymore. So I did not get into music, and I had more things, more responsibilities. I was a single dad now, so was hard. So the music took a back seat to everything else that I was doing. But I just know that it came back from a friend of mine who was watching me go through some challenging times. Said, "Well, Darrayl, what do you enjoy doing most?" I said, "Well, the things that I do most, that I feel most free, is being in front of the camera, making music or dance, and those are the things that I can do all day, all night. That creative side of me." And she asked me specifically to write her a song or do a track, and I just saw it as a try. Like, she tried me, she didn't know that I was good in it. So I had to prove that I was good at it, and I just kept doing it. So I wrote that song, then another song, then I started doing beats for YouTube, and I caught a flow and a rhythm where I found a different side of music for lo-fi, and that was a little bit different. And I said, these songs are too good for YouTube, so let me do an album. This is a gift I've been sitting on for a long time, and my heart's just been aching to get it done. And this album represents that completion. This is that album. It's out now for people to listen to. It's just the first one, and it's gonna change the way people feel about overcoming and how people can reach a level of becoming unbreakable through hard times. So yes, this is my first album. I've been doing it almost 20 years.
Quiet victories. I want to sit in that for a second. What does a quiet victory actually look like for you?
A quiet victory is waking up and not feeling like you have the world on your chest. It's getting through the whole day without replaying old conversations. It's pressing play on that beat that you made at 2 a.m. in the morning, and you realize that it's actually beautiful. In those quiet victories, nobody's claps in those moments, but those are the benchmarks that tell you that you're moving, that you still have motion, and you're still in the fight.
Let's talk about the sound. You chose Lofi, a genre a lot of people associate with study playlists and background vibes, but this project feels broader than that, heavier. Why Lofi?
I chose lo-fi because lo-fi gives you breathing room, and it feels like breathing room to me. It's warm, it's imperfect, and it lets the small details flow. Like, you hear the crackle in the background, the space and the swing and strings, and they all carry emotion in a big way. Sometimes that a polished record can't, right? And people with an ear for music, they'll hear that I'm offbeat at times, and that's okay with lo-fi. You don't always have to be on beat, and it's not a perfect sound. So it really flows into Unbreakable. Unbreakable doesn't mean you're perfect. It means at the end of the day that you just keep going. So that's what I wanted Unbreakable to feel like. I wanted to feel imperfect, but I also wanted to have a late night conversation feel to it, or a long drive, or journaling in your iPad or your notebook, or a night on the couch, or just a night of reflection. And lo-fi gave me that intimacy.
But your lo-fi doesn't sound like what I typically hear in the genre. There's more texture, more intention. Talk to me about that.
My sound is different from what everyone else is accustomed to. There's cinematic strings, there's those unexpected 808s, there's some trap pieces in there, snare rolls, there's vocal chops, all fused together. And what I wasn't trying to do is I wasn't trying to align with music that was already out there. So I was trying to create an intersection between hip hop, film scoring, and also lo-fi, and see if it could exist. And I believe it did. And I just didn't want to make chill beats. Like I was saying, I was making music for YouTube and the chill sites, and it just didn't feel punchy enough for me. So I wanted you to feel something. I wanted to pull you into a room, sit you down, and make you deal with whatever you're dealing with in a more of a happy medium, and have it more inspiring. And that's what I did with my music. That's why it's different.
That's a powerful intention. So, when someone presses play, what do you actually want them to feel?
I want people to feel seen. I want people to feel softened. A lot of us walk around every day armored up all day. And when you press play on my music, I want that armor just to feel a little bit lighter. Now, if someone hears this album and thinks, I'm not crazy for feeling this way, or I can keep going, I've done my job, right? I want people to feel safe, sonically through my sound. And it's something that you can cry to, it's something you can vibe to, it's something you can study to or fall asleep to or have a late night dinner with your friends with. And that's really the essence of that sound.
Armored up, that's a vivid image. Is Unbreakable you taking your own armor off in public?
100%. And that's terrifying, honestly. But I realize if I keep the armor on my art, I'm not really making art. I'm making a performance, and people can feel the difference. The amplification of the message only works if the vulnerability is real.
Each track feels like it lives in a different emotional space. Do the tracks represent different seasons? Or maybe your mindset shifting as you move through this process?
That's a really perceptive question, Cassandra. And yes, absolutely. If you listen to the album front to back, you're walking through my reset in real time. The early tracks are a little darker, more internal, and you feel that weight, the questioning, and sitting in discomfort. And you'll hear that tension in that music, and it's a little sadder, right? But as you move deeper through the project, the sounds opens up. The chords get warmer, the drums breathe more, and I start to find my footing again. I start to find my rhythm. I'm not forcing healing, but I'm letting it happen naturally, one session at a time. And you just look at the different tracks. It'll start at Epiphany, that time when I really identified who I was, that entrepreneur, not the person that was really in that cage, if you will. And then as I start to really gain footing, bang, I start hitting barriers and hitting seasons where it just wasn't working well for me. And then finally I had to get into my purpose and find rhythm, and then get into, some passion projects and really start moving and gaining traction again. But you're 100% right. Yes, if you look at the name of each track, it does spell out a storied arc. So it's not just tracks on the project. I am taking you through an actual story in real time transformation.
I'm not crazy. I see a lot of symbolism on the cover. Talk to me about it and share what it means to our listeners.
Cassandra, that's very astute of you, looking at that and seeing all that symbolism. Now, I'm going to be very brief and hit the points, or the high points of that symbolism, because I could be here all day because it's very impactful for me. So let's just start at the top. At the top of the symbolism, especially when you're looking at Apple Music and Spotify, it's a motion cover. So you'll see the sun peeking out from the clouds from time to time. And that's the hero moment, meaning that, yes, there will be hard times, but eventually this too shall pass. Or to go back to one of the Bible verses, if you don't mind, it's 1 Peter 5:10. God will restore and strengthen you after suffering. So that's that hero moment, seeing that. On my face, you'll see on my face that the right side is actually a shadow and darker. And then on the left side is more illuminated. So that what that means is being in the darkness and then eventually reaching the marvelous light. From there, you'll see that the cross on my chest is actually illuminated. But not only is it illuminated, it moves from side to side. What that symbolizes is that my faith wasn't always strong throughout this process. Some days I had ridiculous faith, as an ode out to my fraternity brother Chandron, who wrote the book on ridiculous faith. But in some days I didn't have any faith at all. I was at zero. So that's why that cross, even though the faith took me through, it goes back and forth, showing that, hey, I wasn't always strong throughout the entire process. And you don't have to be either, but you just got to maintain it, right? And then you just jump into the glass. The glass is shattered, but it's not broken. So what that means is you can be beaten, bloody, head unbowed, you can cry, but all you have to do is you just have to make sure you don't break. And then last but not least, you'll see the valleys at the bottom. You'll see the hills and the mountains in the background, and those are the hills and the valleys that we actually go through. Because if you don't mind me getting biblical one more time, I believe it's John 16:33. God says, in this world you will have trouble, but take heart, for I have overcome the world. So that's what really, essentially, that's what it all breaks down to, is that being unbreakable, that it's going to be hard here. But if you stay strong and faithful, that you'll eventually come through.
So it's almost like a sonic journal, each entry capturing where you were, not where you wanted to be. I want to ask you something that might be uncomfortable. When you started this project, where was your head and where is it now?
When I started, I was in survival mode. I wasn't creating from inspiration. I was creating because I didn't know what else to do. The beats were therapy before I even called them that, because I was angry, I was entitled, I was exhausted, and honestly, I was questioning whether I still had any value to offer to the marketplace, not just to the people around me, to anyone, right? Because when you go on a losing streak like that and you've won for decades, it's a really tough pill to swallow. So me going through this process, I see that it's not just for me, because anything we do is never just for us. It's for something that we learn, and how can we get better, and how can we transform to be better in the future. But just for me even saying that, you know that now I'm in a different place, right? I'm in a place where I'm almost healed, but because I don't believe that you can fully be healed, but I've arrived at a place of peace with the process. Because I used to think I had to show up every day as the finished, polished version of myself. However, Unbreakable taught me that people connect more with the rebuild than the highlight reel. So now I move with a quieter confidence, knowing that I've already survived the hardest chapters of my life.
People connect more with the rebuild than the highlight reel. That's going to land with somebody listening right now. So, what did you learn about yourself that actually surprised you?
I learned that I'm stronger and more sensitive than I give myself credit for, and that the two can both coexist. I don't have to shut down my emotions to be strong. I also learned that my voice, even in instrumental form, without words, has purpose. And the way I hear chords, space, and groove isn't an accident, it's a gift. And there are people out there who need to know exactly this language to process their own stories and overcome as well.
Last question, and I want you to speak directly to whoever's listening right now. Maybe they're in their own crack season. Maybe they've been sitting on a gift they've been too tired or too hurt to use. What do you want them to walk away with?
I want everyone to walk away with this, knowing that your cracks don't disqualify you. That thing that you're carrying, whether it be heartbreak, a career setback, an identity crisis, or you have problems or issues with your family, that's not the end of your story, right? This is a bridge to you becoming a new version of yourself, being transformed. And you don't have to have it all figured out. All you have to do is just keep showing up. When everybody's not clapping for you, keep showing up. When you're sitting in silence by yourself, just keep showing up. When you don't feel like going outside, keep showing up. When you don't feel like going to the gym, just keep showing up. Also, press play on this music and let it hold you where your words can't. And know this, if I can sit in wreckage and still build something beautiful, then so can you. So you are unbreakable just like me, and you just didn't know it yet. But you have a beautiful future. You'll be transformed when you change your mind. And then I believe it comes from the Bible. If God does something for me, he's obligated to do for another. So just because I've been through it, I'm 100% convinced that he'll do it for you as well. So sit in that, know this, that your transformative motion is on its way. That's what I want people to sit in and know. And that's the real premise of the album.
Everybody, the album is Unbreakable. Go find it, sit with it, let it do its thing. Appreciate you, brother.
Cassandra, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you allowing me to have this platform and time to share about my album and its purpose. The last thing I will say is that oftentimes when we're going through hard times, we ask God to take us and rescue us out of a situation. Say, God, change the situation. But what we need to do is realize that the situation is not going to change until we transform ourselves. So we'll just end on that. It's all about transformation. You got this. You are your best advocate. I'll take care. Thank you for walking this journey with me. For listening to my scars, my faith, my transformation. My encouragement to everyone is this. You might bend, you might crack, you might have nights that almost break you, but there is something that cannot be destroyed, and those are your gifts. Remember who breathed those into you, and And when you forget, come back to this moment, to this sound, and to this truth. You are still here. You are still becoming. And you are far more unbreakable than you ever know. Because once you recognize and use your gifts, you stop treating yourself like an accident. You stop shrinking in rooms you were sent to change. And you stop begging for seats at tables you were destined to build. But here's what they won't tell you. Being unbreakable doesn't mean you never crack. Being unbreakable doesn't mean that you finally arrived. It means that every crack now becomes a window, and every fracture lets more light in. Every time you shattered, you met another piece of your true self. But now you choose to gather those pieces instead of throwing them away. And the change that you're looking for, it's not in your situation. It's in your transformation.